I still think this is the best era ever for sports movies, which is crazy.
This might be
50
the
years ago.
Year for sports.
Well, yeah,
movies.
it starts the longest yard in 74, and we've covered the bases with this, but Bad News Bears and Rocky in 76, Rollerballs in 75, 77 as Slapshot, North Dallas 40. We're just hitting, and then you have the goofier ones too, like One-on-One and Fast Break and Breaking Training, but the second Bad News Bears movie, all of those.
When's Breaking Away and
Breaking Away 79?
Yeah.
But this is the run. The 74 to the end of the 70s, this is when we made the best sports movies. And this is also when the best actors wanted to be in a sports movie.
And wanted to be in comedies. And wanted to be funny,
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody, like, that's your childhood. Like, for me, my childhood is the 90s. And so I have, like, a much higher affinity for, like, Above the Rim, Blue Chips, the Costner movies, White Man Can't Jump. Like, those for me, those are my favorites because those are the ones that I was first exposed to. But the thing that these movies have that those don't really have as much as, like, these movies are very unsafe. They're just like, we are really living on the edge of the kind of joke that we're going to make. Like, even in White Man Can't Jump, which is a quote unquote raunchy movie, like, there's nothing even close in that movie to what's going on in this movie with just the way that the guys are talking.
And I think that the thing that I noticed this time around, I mean, I was going to save this for later, but just as, like, strangely, it's a pretty sensitive movie and it's a pretty human movie. Like, a lot of the times there will be what we would probably call homophobic language, and then next thing, like, Paul Newman's like, "Hey, I'm sexually liberated. I love it. Do whatever."
We've talked about this a few times. This specific theme about how they made movies like this in the 70s and 80s, but I don't feel like they make them in the same way with the aim of it being a big movie, but set in a small place with real people and kind of diving into a world. This is like, these are the kind of movies I grew up with, and I don't know why they've stopped. They've just become indie, like super duper cheap indie movies basically now.
Do you think the art of making a comedy but shooting it like a drama and playing it like a drama has kind of been lost? Because that's what they did in the 70s. Like MASH, Bad News Bears even. It's
MASH
just like,
is a good one. Bad News Bears is a great example.
Where it's just like, we're going to make this thing. It's going to be so funny, but it's not going to look different than Serpico. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you guys know, like, the mainstream comedy feature has just been in crisis for 15 years and has never been at a lower time. So the idea of, like, taking an artistic chance in a studio comedy seems impossible right now.
Don't you feel like, I mean, this comes from Nancy Dowd, who her brother was playing minor league hockey, and she spends a bunch of time. She moves to where he was playing, which was the Johnstown Jets. The team was for sale. She ends up stealing a bunch of stuff that she saw, not stealing, but using for the script.
She had a tape recorder in the locker room to get, like, the rhythm of the dialogue.
Can I be honest with you, though? Like, this is actually something that really recommends the movie No Hard Feelings to me, which you may laugh and be like, No Hard Feelings is a silly Jennifer Lawrence movie. But that movie is set in Montauk, and it's set in the non-summer time with the people who live in Montauk, which is a small town ultimately and has gotten a lot bigger in the last 30 years. But it's kind of about that. It's about a young woman who doesn't know how to make money. She, like, can't drive her Uber because she got into a car accident. She's trying to save her mom's house. Like, it actually has very similar stakes. But that movie, when it came out, it was like, holy shit, the one studio comedy we get this year. And it tried to do that. But you're right that in the 70s, it felt like there were 10 every year.
Or even Bull Durham. That came from Ron Shelton. Like, he played minor league baseball. This Rolodex of memories he had and characters he saw. And now it just feels like if you did a movie like this, it would be somebody that, went to USC film school and it was like, I'm going to write a thing and read some books, and then you write it. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe this was a specific era.